معكم عمر عبد العزيز خياط، والمقابلات اللي حتشوفوها هي عبارة عن رأي ووعي الشعب الأمريكي في مدينة سان دييغو كاليفورنيا عن الأمراض النفسية. 3, 2, 1.
What do you think of mental illness?
In the general sense?
Yeah.
Meaning that it should be, are you asking if drugs should be used, or if there should be institutions, or are you just in general?
Just the illness itself in general.
In general, mental illness. I think mental illness has quite a few factors. One of them being biology, different neurons in the brain not firing right. Some would be environmental, obviously having a rough childhood, traumas that would cause mental illness, and a lot of times I think it's a combination of both would cause mental illnesses.
What do you think of mental illness?
When I think of mental illness, I think about maybe like a person's like past, how they grew up and they're like as a child, to make them react like a certain way, or like a born disability or a genetic disability that they've become like mental illness maybe.
Okay. What do you think of mental illness?
Mental illness is a disorder that us humans are going through mentally in the mind, which is you got to deal with it spiritually, which is finding God. When you find God, he takes you away from the shaitan, the devil. So for my people and brothers out there that are having problems with mental illness, find the God, your Lord. He will save you from the demons.
Okay. What do you think of mental illness?
Mental illness, it's what you would call it. It's a situation that needs to be addressed in a lot of ways. You got autism, and then obviously you got schizophrenic, insane people. But it's a really big topic, and I think mental illness keeps on rising and rising and rising.
Do you know someone with mental illness?
Yes, I do.
What type of illness do they have?
I know a couple of people who have suffered from depression and also schizophrenia.
Do you know someone with mental illness?
I do.
Okay, what type of illness do they have?
It's schizophrenia. So technically, like I believe it's schizophrenia. She has like two different personalities, like two different names. Like one day she'll wake up and she'll be like this person, and the next day she'll wake up as her normal self. So.
Do you know someone with mental illness?
I have an uncle with a mental illness. Really serious problem. He has schizophrenia, yeah.
Okay. Do you know someone with mental illness?
Me personally, yes. One of my really good friends, he has ADHD. That's considered mental illness, right?
What advice do you give to the people with mental illness?
Seek therapy. I would say try to speak to somebody about it instead of self-medicate, which can be very dangerous.
What advice do you give to the people with mental illness?
Well, depends. Like I can't really, I'm there for them, so I don't get mad at them. I just kind of like try to understand what they're going through too, because there's nothing really I can do except make their life a little bit easier.
What advice do you give to the people with mental illness?
Definitely, if it's a major illness, you definitely want to seek help with a doctor and see what kind of medications you can take to prevent suicidal thoughts and mental issues in your mind.
What advice do you give to the people with mental illness?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Like, stay on the meds, I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know what advice, because I don't know, honestly.
Do you think the society is respecting people with mental illness?
It's a good question. No, I don't think society respects people with mental illness.
Okay, then how so?
I think a lot of times, even though there are many different factors that can contribute to mental illness, I think a lot of times society blames the person who has it, and often, is upset with them for not getting better right away, even though with so many different factors that cause it, it's not an easy solution. But I think overall society really does blame those with mental illness for being sick. It's a hard thing to understand, because a lot of times with physical illness, it's you take medicine, you get better, or you don't. Mental illness, there's no easy medicine, and a lot of times people can live on and on and on with this mental illness, and it doesn't really have an end. So yeah, I think they really do get stigmatized.
Okay, do you think society is respecting people with mental illness?
Probably not. Not a lot of people like think the way I do, so they're kind of just like, they get either upset at the person, or they just don't really. There's a lot of things that people have that they're not open to discuss with other people, so a lot of people don't know. So I think, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do you think society is respecting people with mental illness?
Definitely not. I've cut military hair, and a lot of them have PTSD, and with that post-traumatic stress, it's not good to bring it over here to us Americans or civilians, because they're feeding off the vibe, which is they're angry from killing people and all that. So that PTSD is a major factor here in our country that needs to be addressed to doctors, and it's serious, really serious.
Okay. Do you think the society is respecting people with mental illness?
No.
How so?
Because also my mother, she has anxiety issues, and I think that's a mental illness. And my friend, society, I think they don't have enough patience for that. So you have like kids with Down syndrome or kids with autism, they're aware of it, but then if they get into that situation, I don't think society are very patient for that. They want like always quick results, and like stop doing that when mental illness takes time.